Well, hey there, fellow Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Top story of the day. The fatal stabbing in North Carolina on the train in Charlotte of the Ukrainian refugee has got to be the most compelling thing that happened over the weekend and continuing in today. A couple of shocking things here. Does everyone know what I'm talking about? Because they were talking about it on the previous show. I think it was mentioned on the morning show. I don't know if Casey talked about it. But if you are just turning on talk radio or you haven't looked at your phone in 3 days, a viral video of a young woman who's a Ukrainian refugee, 23 years old, Iryna Zarutska, gets on a train in Charlotte, good old public transportation. And in the video, you see a fella behind her undo a pocket knife, stand up, and he starts to stab, and the video always freezes. Reports are he stabbed her at least 3 times, one of which was a fatal stab in the neck, and she died right there on the train. They continue the video after the stabbing later in the train. You don't get to see the body or anything, but he has blood that's dripping off of him, and it's a horrible thing. So let's go look at some of the details here on what makes this so compelling. Well, it turns out that this guy has been arrested. I saw 14 different mugshots of this fella. 14. Now, this happened 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. And someone pointed out that after it started going viral at the end of last week, I must have saw it 10 times over the weekend before I saw something that stopped me in my tracks. Someone actually stopped down and they did a search. Where has this been reported? And this is a story that's been largely ignored. As of yesterday afternoon, there had been no reports on it by ABC, NBC, CBS. There had been no reports by CNN. There had been no reports by MSNBC. Someone in the first list put NPR didn't do a report on it. And then they had Grok go through, and Grok said, well, no, in one of the audio-only podcasts that NPR released, it got mentioned yesterday. Okay, so there's no story about it. There's nothing written about it. If you search for it, it's not going to pop up. But in one of the podcast episodes, it got mentioned. So that's how little NPR paid attention to it. But you can just go through the list. I mean, it's the usual suspects. Nothing. And look, it's not just the ones that we know are biased. New York Times, you expect very little out of them. PBS, NPR. But it wasn't in the Washington Post. It wasn't in the BBC. It wasn't in the AP, the Associated Press. So what's going on with that? Up until yesterday afternoon, none of these outlets had reported on it. Parker, why is that such a big deal? Well, let's just go through the ways and reasons this could be a big story. By the way, they've started reporting on it now because they got humiliated. And the only reason most of us even know about this story enough to make fun of the people for ignoring it is Elon bought Twitter. If not for that, we wouldn't have known. The old social media platforms would have all buried it. In fact, all the other social media platforms, for the most part, did bury it. You didn't see it on your Facebook. You didn't see it on Insta, did you? No, but you saw it on Elon's platform. And to the credit, I did see it on Reddit too. But this is one of the interesting things that I think a lot of people have a hard time grasping about the media. The biggest lies the media tells are lies of omission. Because in this one, this fits so many of the metrics that you would think the media would jump all over. Here it is. It's a woman being attacked by a man. Aren't you guys concerned about women being attacked by men? Aren't you the ones that are worried about the oppressive, tyrannical patriarchy and men are just abusing women for sport and not being held accountable for it, and we're just all headed straight to the Handmaid's Tale? But no, the ladies that were all wearing the pink hats, remember that was, in the shape of their undercarriage? They're not coming to the defense of this woman. They're not highlighting this story, even though it you would think it fits their narrative. Turns out this woman's Ukrainian. I thought you guys liked Ukraine. Turns out none of the outlets, none of the pundits with the Ukrainian flag in their bio was talking about this lady. Well, what's the matter there? I thought you guys really cared so much about the Ukrainians and so much about their well-being and so much about them being killed. You only care about Ukrainians when they're being killed by Russians? So that's another strange one. You can put on top of that, she's an immigrant. She's an asylum seeker. And aren't we so concerned? Isn't the media overwhelmingly concerned about the well-being of immigrants? You know, immigrants are under attack. It's a scary time for our immigrants. Doesn't this fit that narrative? No concern there. You care about Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the human trafficker who beats his wife MS-13. You care about him so much so that you'll go visit him in El Salvador. Senator, various congressmen, plural. I'll have to hear headlines about it. We have to get updates on every court hearing from this guy, but no concern about this one. I thought y'all cared about immigrants. So no. Ladies, feminists, I should say, your causes take a back seat. Ukraine, your causes take a back seat. Immigration people, your causes take a back seat. Remember all those marches y'all were having about immigration earlier? Remember the marches you were having earlier in downtown Dallas about Ukraine? Remember the ones that you've had about, women being oppressed and patriarchy? You're all back seat. Well, that was a slip of the tongue. To the race narrative. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I just invented something. You're in the black seat now. Apparently, all of those concerns go out the window because the number one most important overarching narrative in the hierarchy of narratives, race. Congratulations, guys. You played yourself. This is Steve in Weatherford. You're on WBAP.
Hey, James. I want to pitch an idea. It's when this young lady would still be alive and have the rest of her life ahead of her, if the judicial system would have put this guy away a long time ago, because he's been asking for it a long time to be jailed. I think it's time to ask our legislatures around the country to create some legislation, a law that says if a family member can sue a judge and a prosecutor for malfeasance, these prosecutors and these judges will be a little more in tune to making sure bad guys stay out of the public's way.
Steve, we're all over you, bud. We're going to talk about that, not in the next segment, but the segment after that, because Elon had made a couple of tweets and people were sort of adding to that in the comment section where he was asking for a law change, not so we can civilly sue these people, but if you're the DA and the judge who enable rape, murder, robbery, then we've got to come up with some charges for that. Remember, these are the same. A lot of these people think that gun manufacturers should be held accountable for the crimes that criminals do when they use their products. Well, can we not have some liability for the people who put them on the street after 14 different violent crimes?
We're seeing massive malfeasance from prosecutors and judges on criminals. They get back out there and hurt good citizens, and there needs to be a tool in place that says, Mr. Judge, Mr. Prosecutor,
agreed.
Do some more malfeasance if we don't own your home.
You're a step ahead of me, Steve. Stephen Weatherford. More on that coming up on the James Show. Coming up next, though, Chris Putnam from the Dallas Express. You know how I just went through the list of national media outlets and international media outlets who were trying to ignore this and hope it goes away. The local media didn't do much better. Find out next on the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Thank you very much for joining us on the Big Show. Remember, we are your new home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. It's every weekday, 11 to 2, right before the good old James Show. So make that part of your listening schedule if it's not already. My next guest, Chris Putnam's coming back on from the Dallas Express. Welcome back, sir. I would say you're the alternative to the Dallas Morning News and the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, but you're kind of almost bigger than them now, so they're sort of the alternative to you. So welcome back to the show. All right, your reporting caught my eye yesterday. I don't mean yours specifically, but the DallasExpress.com. Because when I saw on X, Elon Musk had retweeted the fact that as far as the murder of Iryna Zarutska happened, it hadn't been reported by the AP, PBS, New York Times, NPR, Wall Street Journal, BBC, CNN, or Washington Post. You added to that. The local media didn't do much better. Well, they have it. They have it on. Wait, do they have it on now? I thought I saw it on Dallas News right before I checked. Yeah. Wait. No, it doesn't. There's some stuff that pops up, but none of it's about her. Oh, no kidding. So the thing that makes this one so interesting, though, Chris, is how many buttons should it push for them? We're getting a glimpse into the hierarchy of the sort of intersectionality. Like, what's more important to them? Because they claim to be concerned about the plight of Ukrainians. They ignored this one. They claim to be concerned about the plight of immigrants, especially asylum seekers. No concern here. They claim to be concerned about the well-being of women and the violence that's being meted onto them by men. No concern from the pink hat wearing ladies out there. So I guess the race card trumps the Ukraine card. Wait, no one else picked that up? Yeah, I mean, dang. Yeah, so it went huge over the weekend. It actually happened, what, August 22nd? So, wait, what, more than 2 weeks ago? Oh, okay. So the event happened on August 22nd, and the video came out, what, last week? Yeah, because I think I first saw it Friday or Saturday. Yeah, well, in my studio right now, I have one TV on Fox News, one on MSNBC. Fox News is throwing it in there every once in a while. MSNBC hadn't seen it once yet, but I'll let you know if I do. We're talking with Chris Putnam from DallasExpress.com. I think one of the real lessons here learned, besides the media is so dishonest and so hack and so untrustworthy, is, like, what do we do about preventing this in the future? It seems pretty easy. For a fella that's been arrested 14 times, stop letting him back out. Yeah, stop letting them out. It's I think is a good start. Well, look, we got a comment here from Nicholas on Facebook. He says the reason the media didn't cover the stabbing is because it wasn't gun violence. If she was shot, they would be all over it, blaming guns. I don't think he's right on that one. I think the race card trumps the gun card. Mm-hmm. But we're not giving them oxygen. It's the 4 million ladies that watch The View every day that are keeping it on. There's nothing we can do about that. They're gone. Oh yeah, but they take a break every summer. I think they're coming back like now or last week. Yeah. Posing is news. No, yeah, he was sharp as a tack. Masks work, lockdowns work. The vaccine will end the emergency. COVID didn't come from a lab. Jussie Smollett was attacked. The Olympics weren't mocking the Last Supper. Abrego Garcia is just a Maryland dad and not a gang member. Repealing net neutrality would, yeah, DART would improve traffic. Agreed. Right. All right, Chris Putnam. Check out his website, dallasexpress.com, and on social media. He does a lot of good sharing on Twitter and Facebook as well. Thank you very much, Chris. Appreciate your time. All right. Coming up next on the James Show, I do have some fixes here so that this situation will be less likely to happen again. If you want to throw your solutions in, 800 288 9227, 800 288 9227. But you'll hear my answers next on The James Show. News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Yeah, so if you haven't seen it, go watch the video as much as they'll let you see of the Ukrainian woman, 23 years old, who was murdered on a train in Charlotte. Good old public transportation. That's what they want you all on. No, it's safe. It's fine. What could possibly go wrong? Well, you could get stabbed a few times in the neck and die from a guy who's been arrested 14 times. From a DA and a judge who are like, let's turn him back out on the streets. What could possibly go wrong? I live in a gated neighborhood. I don't have to take public transportation. I'm not in any danger. Screw the people of my community. My feelings, my empathy, my virtue signaling, more important. My politics are more important. People are dying because of bad politics. You understand that? Because this is a greater outrage, or should be a greater outrage, than the death of anyone like a George Floyd or a Michael Brown or a Trayvon Martin. George Floyd died. You know what the world lost? A career criminal drug addict. That's what they lost. This was a 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee. This is a young woman who hadn't even barely started her adulthood yet. She hadn't fallen in love and gotten married and had kids and started a family and experienced all the great things that happens with that. Having a wedding and a honeymoon and seeing the birth of your first kid and watching them grow up and go to school, first day of school, all that. She won't get any of that. And she didn't do anything wrong. She really was just some innocent bystander. The lie that you were told about George Floyd, about Michael Brown, about Trayvon Martin, she actually embodies the lie. Not a care in the world. Trayvon Martin wasn't just some happy-go-lucky guy skipping home from the gas station with the Skittles, minding his own business. He's casing apartments, looking in windows. The neighborhood watch guy stopped him. He started a fight that he ended up losing with his life. Michael Brown wasn't just some fella that was walking across the street and a cop came up, started harassing him. He didn't say hands up, don't shoot. He wasn't on his knees getting killed execution style like the lying fake witnesses claimed. And George Floyd does not deserve one mural out of the hundreds that have been painted of this dude. He didn't deserve one funeral, but he got two giant ones while you aren't allowed to go see your own mother's funeral. This guy was beatified in that, or beatified. How do you say that? I'm not Catholic. Whenever they make you into a saint. Daniel Penny, top headline for months. You got to report when it happened. Not 2.5 weeks later after the video got released and the media ignored it and then social media had an uproar until finally there was some reporting done on it. No, the media made sure you saw that one. They made sure you saw that image of a white guy holding a black guy on the ground in a chokehold. They told you every step along the way. He's been arraigned. His bail's been set. Here's his next hearing. Here's the evidentiary stuff. Here's when the trial starts. Here's some sketches with chalk on a grocery bag. What's going on during the trial? You got daily updates on that. Why? Because it's a white guy killing a black guy. That's it. So why is this one not making the news? Because it's a black guy killing a white person, a white lady. That's it. That is it. It really is that simple. And why is that such a big deal? It doesn't fit the narrative. If they treated all these stories equally and reported on them without their pre-existing anti-white, anti-male, anti-American, anti-Christian bias, then there wouldn't be nearly as many BLM activists out there thinking, man, this country sure is unfair to black people. If they knew the truth, they would know this isn't a racist country. They would know you and I aren't racist and WPAP isn't driven by race. They have to selectively report on this. They have to omit the story that's more common. Did you know when it comes to interracial violence, because the numbers are being tossed all over social media, you can go fact check this 10 times from Sunday. But if there's an interracial violent crime, it's 30 times more likely to be against me than me be the perpetrator. You understand that? The likelihood that an interracial violent crime is going to happen, 30% higher. 30 times, not percent. 30 times more likely than the reverse. That it's a black perp and a white victim. That's the majority of it. But you wouldn't know that by watching the AP. You wouldn't know that by watching MSNBC or CNN. Look at the per capita numbers. Look at the nominal numbers. They all tell the same story. If you were actually presented with the truth in America, you would not say, boy, we sure do have a problem with white people. Would you? There's about 50 murders in this country every day. And you're only told about the ones that fit the narrative. What happens to the other 49, 48, 47 murders that you're not told about every day? Rest assured, that does not help the narrative, or they would tell you about it. Isn't this disgusting? Isn't the way the media picks and chooses stories unethical, immoral, and disgusting? And racist? You know, it just because it's anti-white doesn't mean it's not racist. It's still racist. You are still using race as the determining factor on whether or not a story has merit. That is sick, media. Fix yourself. So how do we change this? Well, there's not a whole lot we can do about the media. We can just call them out until people are shamed for being a part of it. Just like no one's proudly part of the Klan in your lifetime. Why? Because that would be a shameful event. But here's one thing we can do. The DAs and the judges who are so light on these criminals, this guy's a 14-time repeat offender. Hold them liable. Hold them liable. Look, criminal, civil, there's got to be something we can do. But this is going to keep happening as long as we have the same DAs and judges. Who put them in office? Who funded their campaigns? What team are they on? Are they on Team Red or Team Blue? Yeah, I think you know the answer to that. So if we can have laws and lawsuits against a bartender who overserves a person, and that drunk person goes out and, hits a family of four and kills someone in a minivan, why aren't judges accountable after letting a 14-time repeat offender out? And then he goes on and murders a woman on video, no questions. There's your fix. There's one of the fixes. Coming up next, you're going to hear the truth about the economy with a guest from the Heritage Foundation. Richard Stern's next on The James Show. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Well, hey there, fellow Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. I'm your host, James Parker, on News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP, your new home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. And by the way, when you go on either Twitter/X or Facebook or whatever it is, and there's a post from WBAP, hey, check out our new midday show. And you people leave comments under that. We can all read them. You need to get rid of Casey. Casey sucks. You need to get rid of James Parker. James Parker sucks. Hey, dude, we can read that. You know we can read that. And look, it doesn't make me look bad. Just makes you look bad. Kind of hurts my feelings, too. No, I'm used to it. Truly am. My next guest, Richard Stern, Heritage Foundation, is going to come give you the skinny on what's really going on with the economy here. You know, we got a new jobs report. I don't trust MSNBC and CNN because they're too much biased against Trump. Fox News can kind of be too much biased in favor of Trump. So, Richard Stern, what do you see in the latest jobs report? Good, bad, somewhere in the middle? Well, we still have a little bit of uncertainty because all the trade deals aren't done. China is on a new deadline here. Are we ever going to get past this? We're talking with Richard Stern from Heritage Foundation. You know, I was expecting stability after the big, beautiful bill got passed. I wasn't a fan of everything in it, but it did extend the tax cut. So now businesses know if they hire someone what they're going to be costing them starting in January. So I figured that would be more of a boost than it's been. Well, Richard, we're expecting the Federal Reserve to cut the interest rates this month. Will we see a boost out of that, or is that rate cut already built in? All right, Richard Stern from the Heritage Foundation. Good chat. I appreciate your time, sir. Coming up on the James Show, I've got some strong criticism for that dad who gave up the home run ball that he caught at the baseball game. He handed it to his son. Some screaming Karen comes over and he just gives it up. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, no, no. Here's some strong criticism for that fella coming up next on the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Did you see the video of the kid at the baseball game? There was a home run, went into the stands. There was a lady it fell in front of. The kid's dad runs over and grabs it. And he comes back and he puts it in his son's glove. Gives his son a hug and they're having a cute little moment. And then the woman comes over and the woman... Dude, if you looked up Karen in the dictionary, something similar to her would pop up. She has the Elizabeth Warren haircut, which is also the same haircut that I had in 1996. That's the same haircut. I had kind of that Goodwill Hunting vibe going. Well, she comes over and we don't really know what was said. I mean, you can kind of hear in some of the different angles because there's different people who are videoing it. But the dad seemed kind of startled. And after some harsh words were spoken, he took the ball out of his son's glove and gave it to the lady. So we all assumed she went over there, hey, that was my ball, you took it from me, or something to that effect. And so the debate immediately ensues. Did he do the right thing? Is that what you would have done? My answer is to both of those is no. No. Look, the lady that came over and complained, she looked old. And I mean old, like probably like my age, right? I'm late 40s. And she's wearing a baseball jersey that says Phillies. The game was actually in Florida, so it wasn't even a home game. But I think the dad and son were Phillies fans too. And the stadium saw what happened because there's cameras everywhere and it was kind of watched. And I think it was even commented on TV. And so when the baseball team was made aware of it, they came over with the prize pack for the kid, and they gave him like a bat and some swag. But it's not the same thing. It's not the souvenir of a home run ball that was caught, and dad went over there and picked it up and brought it to him. No, the dad gave it back. So I wasn't going to talk about this story, except dad did an interview that made it even worse, explaining his situation. So here, the father of the Phillies fan, it's a dad who also looks like he's about my age. And his two kids... They look like they're preteen. There's the son that was there, and then the daughter looks like she's like 13, maybe 14. But they were asked by the local news, what happened when you gave the ball back?
I wasn't very happy that we had to give it to her, but we can't win. She was gonna get it anyways.
Sure.
Yeah. She wasn't gonna take it, but I decided to give her the ball. I apologize to you. But it was the right thing. We just wanted her to go away.
Yeah.
And it worked out. You got a bat.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
All right, so you learn the moral imperative for the dad is to avoid conflict. If someone comes up and they're raising a fuss and you have to give up something to make them go away and avoid conflict, it's worth doing. Wrong, Dad. Wrong, Dad. No. So there's personality traits, and one of them is agreeableness. And that may sound like a good thing, but you want to be in the middle. You don't want to be too disagreeable to where you're a contrarian and you can't get along with anyone, and anyone says you fight with them over it. You just love to fight. You love to argue. You'll never get along with anyone. You never have a good relationship. But if you're too agreeable, that's a fault too. That's not a virtue. You are just begging to be walked on. And people, look, I think we're taught, like in elementary school and middle school and high school, when we're kids, too agreeable of a nature. Hey, if it avoids conflict, you just do it. Well, not if it's the wrong thing. Hey, you have to give the souvenir from your son's glove to me. Why? Because I had it first. I touched it first, or you took it from me. No, it's his. Sorry you feel that way. You need to go back to your seat. That's the appropriate answer. I don't mind a little conflict here. My son is getting a ball. You're a grown-ass woman who shouldn't care about such things anyway, much less want to go take it away from a kid. So we have the dad just wussed out. Oh, no, I don't want to have any conflict. From what? What do you think Elizabeth Warren's going to do to you? She's going to say mean words about you? She's going to gripe at you? Oh, no, he said harsh words. I'm so affected. That's why you can't be too agreeable and do this job. I've heard people who are too agreeable do this job. And they don't So many, like in instances like this, they want to not upset anybody at all times. And so they never really take a hard stance because, the worst thing would be if I offended somebody's delicate sensibilities. Well, not if you're telling the truth in my book. If I'm telling the truth, if I'm right, and I'm not being a jerk about it, then I don't care if you're offended. If you're offended, you probably deserve to be offended. I probably enjoy it. Oh, that bothers you? Good. I hope you lose sleep. Hope it ruins you for the rest of the day. Hope you think about this and think, that James sure is a terrible person. Because I'm right. I don't mind it if I'm right. And so this is what makes it even worse. Dad was asked, do you regret giving the ball up? The correct answer should be yes. I let my kids down. I mean, I'm supposed to protect them from, maladies and challenges and whatever. And I couldn't even protect them from a Karen. So yeah, here's this answer.
Dad, do you have any regrets giving the ball back?
Yeah, like I said, it's, that was what we were there for. We were there to get a home run ball. So I thought I had accomplished this great thing, and putting in his glove meant a lot. And she was just so adamant and loud and yelling and persistent. And I just didn't want to deal with it anymore. There was hundreds of people, just staring. And like I said, she was very, very, very close. And I'm dad of the family, so I didn't want to do something I'd regret. And that was the choice I made, is to just hand the ball back and tell her, go away.
All right. Would you have given the ball back? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Coming up next on The James Show, I'm going to explain why guys like this are the biggest challenge we have in society today. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. I'm a dad. I have kids that are about the age of the viral video that you probably saw over the weekend, where a home run ball went into the stands. There was a little scuffle, the little scrum that usually happens. Some dad in a red shirt pops up with the ball, walks over to his son, puts it in his glove, gives him a hug. Angry Karen runs over there, meow, 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 meow. And he just wimps out and gives the ball to the lady. Would you have done that? I certainly would not have. And his explanation of his behavior, unacceptable, sir. Unacceptable. Oh, well, we came there specifically to get a home run ball, but she was really upset and I just wanted to end the conflict. And no, people, can we not stand up for ourselves a little better than this? Because this is sort of a metaphor for everything that's been happening wrong in this country for the last 15, 20 years. If we'd all just stood up and be like, no, dude, I am not going to wear a mask. But and maybe you didn't say that. Maybe I definitely didn't want to wear a mask, and I fought it every step of the way. But what did most of the people in our society do? Okay, well, they told us to wear a mask, and if, I can avoid some conflict by going to the grocery store, I just don't want to wear the mask. And what did we do? We were so agreeable. We just agreed ourselves into submission. Unacceptable. This is Holly in Louisville. You're on WBAP. Would you have given the ball back, Holly?
No way. No way. I think it's customary in baseball stadiums. I think it's a known rule. If it's not, that whoever gets the ball, it's their ball. So, and kind of what you're going along with, no disrespect to men, but we really need our dads and our men to stand up, and I would have never given that ball back.
God, this feels like, and I got scarred during COVID, Holly, because there was the first time when they really started the lockdown and they said you can't go to church. So I was like,
yeah,
F these people. It's literally the First Amendment and the Bill of Rights, freedom of assembly and religion. No, hell no. I'm going to go to church. I don't care if I get arrested. And so
went to church,
snuck
around, played pickleball.
No, listen,
by park rangers.
I was in a big city. I was in New Orleans. It's so damn liberal and just submissive, like this dad. And I went to church that first Sunday. Doors were locked. They weren't letting anybody in. I was like, this is what we do? They say, we say we're going to stand up for Jesus. We're going to stand up for our religion, and no one can come between me and our Lord. Oh, well, there's the disease. We're 99.9% survivability rate, and they want to shut everything down. Oh, well, if I can avoid some conflict, I don't want to be a problem child here. I don't want to be a butthead. It's like, no, dude, no. And we all had a chance to be brave and actually stand up and live to our principles, and we were cowards, just like this dad, Holly.
100% agree.
All right, well, thank you.
100% agree.
Good stuff.
Thank you so much.
Lori in Hickory Creek, you're next up on the James Show.
Hi. I was calling to say that I would not have given the ball back either. And I'm with you on the whole cowardice thing. I'm just over it. I stood my ground with COVID, not wearing masks, this, that, and the other. And, to the point of almost embarrassing my children, because I didn't want to cow down to that, or cow down, whatever you call it. But, we do need strong men in our society these days, and we're not getting it from guys like that. And I hate to bag on him, because at the same time, I kind of understand why he did it, because he's on camera and, it could go either way. He could be the bad guy, or she could.
No, feel free to bag on him. Feel free to, he's in the wrong here. And while it's understandable why some people would think that, it's still the wrong thing to do. So no, go ahead and bag. Don't be too nice here. You don't have to be nice in all occasions. Don't worry if some people think, oh, well, Lori's a little hard. That's all right. That's better than being, trampled underfoot because you're so nice.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Let's go to Jerry in Capel. You're on WBAP. What do you think, Jerry?
Well, I don't know if she actually had the ball in her hand and he wrestled the ball out of her hand or what. I mean, if they both grabbed the ball at the same time, heck no, you don't give it back to her. But if she had that ball in her hand and he snatches it out of her hand, and then walks off with it, then I mean, at what point is it her ball? Like I say, I don't know what happened.
Right.
I
So
couldn't see down in there.
you are given the most generous interpretation, and I've tried to think through this exercise too, because it's actually hidden when they both go reach down for it. So did she grab it and then like within a second he got it from her? It would have to be a very brief moment of possession. So, okay, maybe she felt dissed at the beginning, like, hey, he snatched that for me. I had it first. But the second the dad went and he put it in his son's glove, she should have just like recognized, hey, you know what? There's a bigger thing at play here. That's a kid, and I'm a middle-aged woman. And you know what? Let him have it.
She was old.
How old do you think she was? I thought she was like my age, like because I'm 48.
Oh God, you're a kid. I thought she was closer to my age. I'm 68.
Oh, I don't know. It's hard to tell. I'm not very good at the age guessing game, especially when.
But anyhow, she clearly had the ball and he took it out of her hand. She's got a right to bitch. But if they both grabbed it at the same time and he just kind of won the tug of war, then yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, but Jerry, would you have given the ball back if you were the dad and you had kind of snatched it from her hand because y'all grabbed it at the same time? Would you have given it back?
If I stole it out of her hand, yeah. If she grabbed it first and then I took it out of her hand, well, you're a thief.
Okay. Oh, he didn't say that in the interview, so that's just kind of up in the air. But
yeah, right. And like I say, I couldn't see close enough. But as angry as she was, that kind of led me to believe. Why in the world was she so angry? I mean, did he actually take it out of her hand?
Right. Because that's another big question. Why does she care so much? You're a grown up. You want to? I got to go take this souvenir away from a child. I've reached such a level of injustice on a ball. It's not going to change your life. It's not usable. You can't go resell it. You're not going to do anything with it. It's just a dumb souvenir. Let the kid have it. All right. Good.
Yeah, and no matter what, she is a Karen for taking the ball back after it was in the kid's glove. So,
yeah, so we're back and agree again. Yeah. All right. Good stuff. That's Jerry and Capel. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. We will continue the mystery of the home run Karen coming up on the James Show. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Well, hey there. Welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Did you see the viral video of the lady who got the home run ball from the kiddo? You know, this is the camera and the combined with the viral video, stadium cameras and viral videos have been a powerful force as of late. There was also at the U.S. Open, the tennis tournament, some guy snatched a hat that a tennis player was giving a little kid, and he got busted, and he's not giving it back or whatever. You had the people who were at the Coldplay concert got busted because they were having an affair, and then that went viral. So if it makes you feel any better, in years past, jerks like this would get away with it with no criticism. I think this lady already lost her job. Like, I'm not sure if she deserved to lose her job. I think what she did is pretty terrible. I don't know if I would fire her for it. Good Lord, people, calm down. But it's a different time we live in. Would you have given the ball back? Ken in Arlington, you're on WBAP.
Hey, are the days spitting on it and you want it now over with, or does that still in play?
The kid could have spit on it, maybe?
The dad, I mean, either one. I mean, they're both got the same thing. Both. I mean, if I was the dad, I would have done it first, gave it to the kid.
So I'm guessing, jokes aside, you wouldn't have given it back.
No.
Yeah.
No, because we've dumbed down on the masculinity in the United States, and it's happened for the last 20 years.
Oh, I agree to that. You know, it is not celebrated anymore to be a big, manly, masculine man. You got to be a little compliant, noodle arm beta male. That's what they like these days. They like the David Hoggs of the world. They're no threat.
No, they're not. I mean, my ex said I needed to get in touch with my feminine side. I ate some fruit roll-ups and I didn't like it, so I gave them back.
This is what counts as femininity to you, Ken?
That's it. Ain't Monday's open line joke day?
It must be. Thank you, Ken. All right, Steve in Fort Worth, you're on WBAP.
James, I'm sorry, I disagree with you. If I were young still and had young kids, I might have responded like everybody else is talking about. But now I have a great deal of respect for that man. He was there in front of his son, and he was confronted with what was obviously a harridan. And rather than responding in kind, he showed chivalry. He showed politeness, and basically he said, it's not worth it for this particular situation. And what he did was he demonstrated very mature adult performance for a son who got to observe the other person being, like I said, a harridan.
Well, hang on. I think you can still be, chivalrous and respectful and turn the lady away. You can be like, I'm sorry you feel that way, but you're not getting the ball.
Well, you're right, but she obviously was not going to yield on it. So
well, I know, but I didn't say like headbutt her in the nose.
No. I'm saying that what he did was he said, "Hey," and I can imagine him turning to his son and said, "Son, this is a baseball. It is not worth this." And now, and again, I'm sorry to do this, and I mean nothing about holier than thou. But as a Christian, we're supposed to consider others better than ourselves. And if somebody else is going to be a jerk, as a Christian, I mean, okay, as a human being, I want to punch him in the face. But as a Christian, I know I am called to be more polite, to be more kind, and to be, anyway. I just disagree with everybody saying, I don't think the guy was a wimp. I think he showed considerable restraint, and he basically reminds me of Kwai Chang Caine. He showed humbleness or humility, and I respect him for it. So I really everybody's griping about how everybody's so nasty to each other these days, and I agree, and it infuriates me. Well, this guy demonstrates a level of chivalry, and everybody's calling him a wuss.
I don't think that counts as chivalry. Given into a harpy who's making what appears to be an irrational demand, that doesn't make any sense, and that doesn't make you chivalrous.
But look at the karma here. Look at what the kid got out of it. Because his father didn't make a big scene about it, the kid ends up with a signed baseball bat. Again, that's karma for you. In my opinion, that was a God incident, and God gave this guy the opportunity to show that he was a bigger man, and as a result, his kid got a lot better than just a baseball.
One of the options for Christians, Jesus taught us, you can flip over the table and start hitting people with whips.
That was not the opportunity. A lot of people like to use that as an example, James, and you know as well as I do that that's a very poor example. Jesus.
No, I don't know as well as you do.
Oh, okay, then you don't. I'm sorry. Again, I don't mean to be judgmental or anything. I just respect the guy, and I'm not a pushover. And usually, I'm as much of a jerk as anybody else when they get in my face. I agree with you about basically the masks and not being able to go to church. I think that was a farce. I think the government overextended their bounds.
Now, why wasn't
In this
that being
particular
chivalrous?
instance-
Why wasn't that being chivalrous? No, look, I don't want to cause any problems here, and if people are scared about a
No,
disease here, then let's not upset them.
You're using a logical fallacy. It's not a comparable situation. Neither is Jesus turning over the tables in the temple.
Okay.
Normally, James, I agree with you. I just don't in this circumstance. I just think that the guy was he didn't make a big deal out of something that wasn't a big deal. And I again,
All right. Well, good. Hey, it's all right if you disagree. You got to say your piece on the James Show. I appreciate you calling in
did,
with a different
and I
point of
thank
view.
you.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And I'm sure a lot of people think like you, Steve. And that's why I specifically like to have people on who disagree with me. So the other people that disagree with me have someone to champion. So you got a champion and Steve disagreeers. How about that? 800-288-9227. The dilemma of the home run ball for the Philly fans. More updates coming up on the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Well, hey there, football fans. Doesn't it feel good that the season's back and you can just spend all weekend watching football? Well, here's a little secret. Add a little bit more fun to the football you're already loving with Prize Picks. James Parker here for the Prize Picks app. Hey, for those of you who had Arch Manning in your lineup, you probably had a pretty good weekend there, didn't you? So, look, it's pretty simple. You make a lineup of 2 to 6 of your favorite players. You go look at statistics, whatever the number is, you pick more or less. That's it. So from 2 to 6 guys, you can win up to 2,000 times your money. Now, I would have won this weekend if I had used the flex play. I got a little cocky, but Prize Picks also invented the flex play, so you can not have a perfect lineup and still win. It's not too late to get on the action for this weekend. Unlike regular fantasy sports, you can play each day a different lineup. So even if you didn't play over the weekend, there's another game tonight, Vikings and Bears. Go get Prize Picks, make your own lineup, win some money on me, and you can do it with the money we give you. Download the Prize Picks app, use promo code WBAP, and you get $50 in lineups with your first $5 lineup. So download Prize Picks, use the promo code, it's this station, WBAP, and get $50 in lineups with your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. We're discussing the home run ball that made the viral video. You probably saw it 10 times over the weekend. And so a couple Phillies fans were scrumming for a ball. One guy comes up with it. He hands it to his son. An angry Karen runs over, clucks at him a little bit, and he takes the ball out of his son's glove and gives it back to her to defuse the situation. She walks off. And so the discussion, the debate ensues. Would you have given the ball back? Did he deserve to give the ball to his son, or did she deserve to get the ball? Did they grab it at the same time? Did she grab it first and he grabbed it? How long does she have to have possession of it before it's hers for the rest of eternity? And all kinds of questions are popping up. But, we're also sort of putting this in the context of, is there a larger problem, with the demasculinization or whatever of society? With all this toxic masculinity and stuff, we just teaching people to be pushovers? 800-288-9227. This is Richard in Waco. You're on WBAP.
Yes, I agree with the last caller. What I could see about it was that the gentleman, he went out of his seating area quite a ways and went over into their seating area, and he could see the ball. I think they were having trouble seeing it because they were so close to it down in the seating, and he could see a better advantage from the side as far back, and he saw where it was, and he just walked over there and picked it up before she could even pick it up. But I think, being so far out of that area, he walked over out of his area. That's my view on it.
That's interesting. So what's an acceptable radius to chase after a ball?
Well, I mean, if it's next to your seat, one or two seats, but what I could see, he went across the aisle, I think.
But he went across all empty seats. It's not like he pushed people out of the way and got in front of them. There was nothing between him and the ball.
Yeah, they were empty seats, but he was quite a ways from it, from where his family was sitting. And but it appeared to me like he could see the ball was laying down there on the concrete, area between the seats better from his distance from it. And they were fumbling around trying to see where, because they were so close to it, they couldn't find out where it was at there. And he could see it. And it appeared to me, he just walked over, and about the time she was reaching for it, he just picked it up and turned around and walked off. But it was just so far away from it.
That didn't bother me. That bothered you, Richard? Do you think that counts?
Well, no, it don't really bother me. It's being that distance away. Usually they're, when they're fighting over it, they're right together. Usually the same next door seats, or of where it's at, not being that far away.
I hear you.
Another thing is, I don't know why these people get so shook up about getting all this souvenir balls and stuff. I mean, yeah, it's great, but I mean, I just agree with that last caller that.
No, I agree with you on that part. Because Richard, aren't you supposed to, as an adult, not think it's such a big deal? Like, even if you catch a home run ball, you just turn around and give it to the nearest kid anyway.
Yeah, that's probably what I'd do if it was my kid, or if the kid was trying to catch it and I got it before he did. I was, oh well, you take it.
Well, this means more to you. You're a kid. I'm a grown adult. I should be more mature about such things. All right, great call, Richard. I haven't heard anyone do the radius angle, but I'll take it, sir. This is a good addition.
Yeah.
This is another Richard, but this one's in Fort Worth. You're on WBAP. Go.
I agree a little bit with the previous caller on that, but I'm really big in this. It is demasculinating. We've been taught to have our kids, be pushovers. And I've got 5 boys and a daughter. And not only do I teach my boys how to be men, but I teach my daughters what kind of man that they want to, what kind of man they want to be with when they get older. That ball, the guy got the ball, he gave it to his kid. Worst comes to worst, he should have had the kid throw it back before giving it over to the cat.
Ooh, I like that, Richard. No one said that either. Should have thrown it back. I didn't. Let me ponder that for a second. How about if you're not happy if I have it and I don't want to take it from my son and give it to you, then nobody can have it, and you chunk it back? Yeah, maybe so.
You know what? You get a home run ball and it's an issue. Nobody gets it.
I like the way you think, Richard. Thanks for calling. Appreciate it, sir. Let's go to Trey in Saginaw. You're on WBAP.
Yes, sir. How are you?
Always good.
I wanted to comment on the Karen with the ball, the situation. I heard a caller just a little while ago talking about using Christian principles to deal with this situation. The look on the kid's face and the dad when he retrieved it and gave it to him was more important than the ball. I mean, they shared a huge amount of love. And for the father to turn around and give that ball to that screaming banshee, I look at it this way. You are a James, and if you look at James in Hebrew, it's Jacob. And if you go back matter of fact, there's a great book out now by Jordan Peterson, and it's called Wrestling with God. And it's the story of Jacob when he gets converted to Israel. And I've come to the conclusion that if you're Christian, you're waking up every day and you're wrestling with God to get the blessing. That's what I did. My first reaction is, you want to punch her in the gut? If you're wrestling with God, then you don't flip the table. By the way, the table example was about the idea that Jesus was offended that his father's house was being deal, not a personal issue. So I'm saying that I applaud that dad. He's my hero. And that it turned out very well for the young man with the autograph bat and all the other stuff.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that is turning out very well from this, and thank you for your call, Trey in Saginaw, is if you go look up Phillies Karen right now, you see a whole bunch of people put montage together of don't be a Phillies Karen, and they're showing people who catch foul balls and home run balls who turn around and hand it to a kid, or a kid hands it to a younger kid, or some kid hands it to like a very cute girl that happens to be in the row behind him, and they have like a little flirty moment. And, that's such a more beautiful picture of what you do after a home run. The person who caught the ball is happy, and then the person they hand it off to is happy. Everybody is happy, and the happiness is multiplied. Karen did the opposite. Someone got it handed to a kid. She's like, no, we will not let this end happy. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. We will continue with the saga of the Phillies Karen next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, fellow Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. We're talking about the Phillies Karen. And the Phillies Karen is the viral video that you probably saw over the weekend, but if you didn't, you have a life. Good for you. I don't. There was a home run ball. Some dad went and snatched it off the ground. At the same time, some other lady was trying to pick it up. He comes back and he puts it in his son's glove, gives his son a hug. The lady follows him over there, gives him some harsh words. He gets a little spooked and takes the ball out of his son's glove and gives it to the middle-aged Phillies Karen. And I say she's a Phillies Karen. She's got the Karen haircut. The short hair kind of looks like Goodwill Hunting or Elizabeth Warren, whatever. She's wearing the nerd glasses. She's got a Phillies jersey on. So the debate comes to should the dad have given the ball back? What kind of cupcake just relents and takes a souvenir, just a memory forever out of his son's own glove and hands it to the Karen? And for the people who say, well, he ended up getting a signed baseball bat, so he wound up ahead. Well, he didn't know that was going to happen. If you could tell me he knew when he took the ball out of his son's glove that he was going to get a better reward for it, then okay, that makes sense. But it sounds like the kid just sold out his son to avoid an argument with a very annoying lady, and I think, what a wuss. Don't bother calling in. Lines are full. This is Shirley in Alliance. You're on WBAP.
Hi. I think no one has brought up the point that she could have been very dangerous.
How?
Somebody who would do that would run after you and do that and get in your face that way. You don't know what's coming next. But secondly, the fact that it was a man, the father and the son, I think was very different than had it been a mother there. Because had it been me there, and I'm a solid Christian, okay, but I'm telling you, I wouldn't even think of hitting anybody. But had she got in my face that way, surprised me that way, and done that, and got that close to me, I would have turned my body flat against her, between her and my child. And had she just 1 second continued that, I literally would have taken both my hands and pushed her as far as I could. Now, if she fell down the bleachers, God help her, that would be her fault, because I would not let her come near my child. So a father, I think, has a different instinct. I think a guy, his instinct is to first be physical, maybe more than a female is. And she counted on him not doing that, maybe. I think that could have been it, that she knew she did that, and she knew that he wouldn't do that.
Well, you can get away with that, but if dad elbows her in the throat, he becomes the bad guy.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay.
I'm saying there's a different kind of rule, because had it been a female, I would have absolutely taken a physical defense against her had she done that in my face. And I think anybody expects that when you come between an adult and their child. There seems to be a different rule for if you come between a man and his child or a woman and her child.
Agreed. Yeah, but I don't think someone who follows you over there is that dangerous if they're like a 60-year-old woman who's kind of frail. I mean, the most dangerous thing about her is she was wearing a Phillies jersey, and Phillies sports fans are notoriously awful people, and their reputation just got a little bit worse this weekend, but it is on par with the branding we all expect from the terrible group of people we call Philly sports fans.
Yeah.
Miserable people. All right. Well, thank you, Shirley.
I'll tell you this. Here's a cute phrase.
Okay.
The truth will set you free, but not till it's done with you. And she has got the truth coming after her in every place she goes today.
Yeah, I think she got fired already. That's so terrible. Yeah.
The truth is not going to let her go until it's done with her.
Her neighbors are going to give her crap. You're right. You're right.
Can you imagine your grandkids, what that's like?
You know what? That makes me feel a little bit better. Thank you, Shirley.
That's my grandma. She's getting it.
Right. Man, I told you grandma was a punk. All right. Todd, Fort Worth, you're next up on WBAP.
Hey, James. The thing is that, when that ball's hit into the stands, it's playing ping pong. So, whoever gets that ball, and that, that's it. So the thing I would do, because she came over and confronted him the way that she did, you have to do some quick thinking and, decide, how you're going to react to this, because like one of your previous callers said, throw it back. That would be one of my instincts.
Okay.
And the other thing would be to stick it under my boxer shorts and say, Pocahontas, get it.
Oh, you're making because she looks like Elizabeth Warren, and that she does look like Elizabeth Warren, though. And someone already made the meme. Like, I'd only see the viral video like a couple hours before, and there's already a meme of like someone had photoshopped Elizabeth Warren's face onto the woman's body, and it fits so well that I thought it was the lady at first. I'm like, oh, she really does look like Elizabeth Warren from that. Oh, it's a Photoshop. All right, funny stuff. Everyone's having a good time with
just
that.
Like her.
Right, she does. All right, thank you, Todd. This is Randy in Frisco. You're on WBAP. Would you have given the ball back, sir?
So I guess you straightened out for me. No Eagles games and no Phillies games. Just don't go to sporting events there.
Well, listen, this happened in Florida, so the ill branding.
I was about to get to that.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, hold on. So 1 section, 2 section, 3 sections, or 4. If the ball's on the ground, grab it and hit the door. Because if you don't, you're going to get Karen in your face, or potentially if you're at a Rays game and happens to be the 40th home run of a potential player there, then security will accost you, even though it's considered forfeited property by the courts. You're on their private property, and they can accost you, throw you in their little dungeon treatment area, and literally steal the ball from you so that you can't take it out of the stadium, and people just pretend like that didn't happen. So as long as you're not assaulting and or battering someone and you're at a game and you see a ball, grab it, put it in somewhere that you have absolute authority over what you put it in.
You know, I don't know that other story, but that makes me want to look it up. Thank you very much, Randy. That's dang it. Why are you putting more stuff in my head that I have to Google later? Let me squeeze in one more. Rod and Forney's been waiting a long time. Hey, Rod, you're on WBAP.
Oh, good afternoon. I think that if the person that accosted the dad had been a dude, things might have turned out a little bit differently. But the way I read this guy's remarks, post-incident, I think he's probably trained his son, we don't hit girls. I think he's probably been told, we don't hit girls. And I think that was the foundation of his response toward this goofy woman. I think if
Agreed.
It was
Well, I mean, you don't have to hit her. You could just tell her no.
Yeah, but like I say, the whole idea about, cupcake, I don't think he would have, any way in the world, he would have surrendered that ball to a man.
You know what? I agree with that too. And why is that? Well, because women are held in special esteem in society. You were told this is some bloodthirsty, heartless patriarchy where we just oppress women. In my observation, it's been quite the opposite. Thank you very much. Good point too, Rod. Coming up next, the stock market's just closed at record highs today. Economist Steve Moore is going to talk about the headlines affecting your money coming up on The James Show. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP. James Parker here for Rhino Shield. Listen up, homeowners. If you're looking at your house and you're starting to see the paint chipping and peeling and cracking, there's one way you can make sure you never have to deal with that again. And it ain't paint your house. This is how you got in this situation in the first place. And if you don't listen to me here, go ahead, paint your house. Coming up in 5 to 10 years, you're going to see it cracking and peeling again. And you're going to wish you would listen to me right now. Do Rhino Shield and never paint your house again. It's like paint, but it's not just a different kind of paint. It's a two-step process. They have this primer, some space age that expands and contracts with your house. There's an insulating factor, and then they do the ceramic coating on top of that. And the ceramic coating will trip you out. When Gary comes to your house and explains it to you, he's going to have a little jar of stuff. And it looks like liquid, but it's such a fine powder. When he shakes it, it kind of sloshes around and makes waves like liquid. You stick your finger in it, you pull it out, it's totally dry. It's not liquid at all. So it's just some new space age technology, polymer that you don't even have to understand. Just throw it on your house. It'll do things that paint can't. It won't chip. It won't peel. It won't crack. It blocks UV radiation. It has insulating properties. It expands and breathes with your house. It won't ruin your brick like some paint will. Thousands of colors. And there's really no downside to Rhino Shield. Because look, if you never want to paint your house again, if you never want to have to worry about it again, just do this. And then, boom, you are set. So go to rhinoshielddfw.com to get started with that. Gary will come out to your house. He'll give you the whole rundown on how it works. And look, if the only thing you're worried about is the cost, they do financing too. So go to rhinoshielddfw.com. No excuse to ever paint your house again. Go to rhinoshielddfw.com. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Well, this is a headline that you're going to hear here, but I'm not sure it'll be trumpeted too loud anywhere else. Your stock markets Record highs again. Yay! Economy's doing good. That's cause to celebrate, right? No. You ever wonder why some of these people are so miserable? Like, I'm scared to go outside, or we live in a fascist hellscape. The democracy's under threat. I mean, we're living under literally Hitler. Oh, calm down. Things aren't that bad. Have you looked outside today? Do you realize, like, you're not getting good news that doesn't fit the narrative? So you're very much being underserved. It is Dallas, Texas. It is September 8th. On a normal year, high would be 95, 105 degrees, somewhere in that arena right now. Right now, it's 83. 83 degrees. And I think that's going to be our high for today, according to the ghost of Steve Jobs on my iPhone here. That's amazing. Tomorrow's going to be nice and mild, too. You know, no wonder you're miserable. The news withholds good news. The news withholds anything that doesn't fit the narrative. So whether it's the lady getting stabbed on the train, that definitely doesn't fit the narrative, but that's not going to make your day better. You also don't get reminders when things are good. The economy's growing. The economy's growing at over 3%. The unemployment rate, it ticked up 0.1% to a maniacal 4.3%, which is historically below average. You're not getting that. They don't want you to hear the good news when Orange Man Bad is in power. You were getting great news about the economy for the last 4 years, and then all of a sudden, record stock market high is no big deal. Just not a thing. So we're reporting it over here on WBAP. Hell yeah, we are. Because we don't care if it's good or bad. Whatever the stock market closed at, if it's a record, we're going to tell you. If it's taking a big dive, we're going to tell you good with bad. But not everyone works on that. And so these people, they almost want to make themselves miserable is what it feels like. You got the economy growing. Yeah, stock market's at all-time highs. No headlines. Did you get any headlines on the economy when it went down in April? Did you get any headlines on the stock market when it barfed 20% after Liberation Day with the tariff talk? You did then, but not now. You understand why these people are miserable? You understand why if you don't tune into outlets like WBAP or get some sort of alternative news sources in there, or heck, even a Fox News or Fox Business would help you out with this, that of course these people are miserable. That's the design. If you were to say, hey, let's not give real news, let's give politically slanted news in a way that makes our viewers absolutely miserable, you wouldn't change a damn thing on MSNBC or CNN, would you? 800-288-9227. Back to the phones. This is Vance in Arlington. You're on WBAP.
Yes, hi. Listen, I think the gentleman did the right thing because
the guy who gave the ball back to the Philly Karen.
Absolutely. Okay. And the only reason I say that is because she was over there very adamant, throwing out a lot of cuss words, and he's sitting there with his 3 kids, and he didn't want to have it turn into a thing. I think it would have been a lot different if he would have been sitting there with another man and fans that he might have wanted to fight for it a little bit, but my God, what do you want to put your kids through with somebody cursing and throwing out the F word and everything else? I think he did fine, and I don't think it reflects badly on him as not being a man. I think he is being more of a man by taking care of his kids and shielding them from the craziness that might come from her throwing out all this nasty stuff. So I think he did the right thing, and it worked out. So,
well, look, I disagree, but you sound like such a nice guy. I don't even want to argue with you, Vance, because you're shielding kids from cuss words or whatever, getting it to go away, and really, it's just a ball. It's not that big of a deal, and that's the lesson he's teaching his kids. But I mean, I would say conversely, that it's just words. I think my kids need to know that your principles should stand up. Right and wrong does not change just because someone gets really angry and uses ugly words.
Yeah, well, that's true. But when you can de-escalate a situation, I think that might be a lifesaver in a lot of points.
Yeah, look, we're not in Nam here, dude. We're in the outfield of a Phillies game.
Yeah, I know, but that's a life lesson. When you can say, "Hey, it's better to stop this now. And that transcends.
See, I think that might be a bad lesson in many aspects, and it depending on the context. Just whatever stops the conflict, fine, I'll put a mask on, or whatever I got to take to keep my job, fine, I'll take the shot, or that's how we got into that whole COVID mess.
So you think if you're up at a 7-Eleven and you have a conflict with somebody, you shouldn't try and de-escalate and give it, even if you're wrong, if they're wrong.
Yes.
Sometimes it's smarter to de-escalate and not fight with somebody.
I agree. I agree that sometimes it's smarter to de-escalate and not fight with somebody. But in a situation that you're faced with in the outfield, in the stands, worst case scenario, what is she going to get violent with you? She's no threat of any kind.
No, you don't even know. And she is out there throwing all this language, and he's sitting there with his children, and they're fairly young.
All right.
I don't blame him a bit.
I hear you. All right. Some people are just too nice. You're too nice, Vance. I think you're nice to a fault. You're a nice person. You're a good person. But, I mean, people that agreeable, I think you're just lining yourself up to get exploited. Can I just come to your house and eat the meatloaf off your dinner table if I start cussing people out? I don't think so. I don't know. Like, it's so hard to argue against someone like Vance because he's taking the nice route. All right, coming up next on the James Show, we're playing Dead or Alive. And check this out. You're not going to believe what the tickets are for. To see Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly, the news anchor. Yeah, she has her own show and podcast now. But she's coming to town. She's going to be at Dickies Arena next month, and you can win a pair of tickets from us. Call in right now. 800-288-9227. Dead or Alive next on the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Well, hey there. Welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 93.3 FM, WBAP. I'm your host, James Parker, and you are just in time for today's episode of Dead or Alive. Now, this is going to be cool because usually we give out tickets to, like the state fair or a concert. But this is one of those things that's kind of in the middle. This is an event you need a ticket for. But this is for Megyn Kelly. Remember Megyn Kelly from Fox News? She moderated some presidential debates, and then she left Fox News, started her own little show, and now she's got an online thing where she still does cool guests, and you hear her sound clips on the James Show from time to time. Well, she's on a tour now, not just her by herself, but she's going to be with Glenn Beck, Mark Halperin, and Link Lauren. I don't know Link Lauren, but I know the other two guys. You can get your tickets now at MegynKelly.com. She spells her name with the Y, MEGYN, Kelly.com. But they're going to be at Dickies Arena Saturday, October 25th. And I've really grown to love these. I saw Jordan Peterson last year. Brian Kilmeade just came to town, and he did his little history presentation. And I feel like, if you're about my age or a little bit older, this takes the place of like when we used to go to concerts. You just want to go out on the weekend and have some good time with some like-minded people and listen to something quite entertaining, except you get to sit down. You're in air conditioning. There's not sweaty people slam dancing into you. It's nice and adult and kind of awesome. So with that, let's play Dead or Alive. Hey, thank you, Mr. Jovi. Welcome to Dead or Alive. Today we're playing for 2 tickets to see Megyn Kelly live on stage, Dickies Arena, Saturday, October 25th. Special guest Glenn Beck, Mark Halperin, Link Lauren. Get tickets now at MegynKelly.com. Presented by Refi and Sirius XM. Today's category is news anchors. I'm going to name 10 news anchors. All you got to do is tell me if they're dead or alive. Whoever's on the phone at the end of the list, you're going to get the tickets. We're starting with Nick in Abilene. Hey, Nick, you ready for Dead or Alive?
Let's play.
All right. Number 1, Peter Jennings from ABC News. Is he dead or alive?
Alive.
No. Peter Jennings died in 2005, Nick in Abilene.
It's my fault.
I know. You didn't even make it through 1. That's rare. Brian in Plano. You ready for Dead or Alive?
I am.
Okay. Next one. Barbara Walters. Dead or alive?
She is alive.
Nope, died in 2022. Sorry, Brian. All right. It's a rough start. Let's try Mike. Mike in Granbury, you're on Dead or Alive. You ready?
Go ahead, James. Everybody's striking out.
Well, maybe it's your turn, Mike. Sam Donaldson, dead or alive?
Believe he's dead.
No, I know why you would say that. He's 91 years old, but he is still alive. God. All right. Thanks, Mike. Worst episode ever. Or best, depending on if you're into that sort of thing. Bob in Athens, you're on Dead or Alive. You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. What are we down to? Ted Koppel from Nightline and big old hair. Is he dead or alive?
I think he's already passed.
He's alive, 85 years old. No one wants
That
these
was
tickets?
easy.
Yeah, no one wants these tickets, huh? Jason in Blue Ridge, you want to see if you can get one right?
Let's do it.
All right. Tom Brokaw, dead or alive?
Dead.
Tom Brokaw, sir, is alive, 85 years old. All right, now I'm starting to enjoy it. Now it's come full circle where I hope nobody gets one right. And whoever's just on the phone at the end, they're going to get, someone's getting the tickets to Megyn Kelly. Y'all call in right now. Everyone's laying eggs. 800-288-9227. We got to restock this line if a couple more people get it wrong. Ray in Granbury, you ready for Dead or Alive?
Yes, sir.
All right. Roger Mudd, dead or alive?
Oh, he's dead.
Well, don't be so confident. He just died in 2021, but my God, you at least got one right. Thank you, Ray.
I don't know it was that soon. Okay.
I know, right? I was kind of surprised, too. Diane Sawyer, dead or alive?
Alive.
79 years old. Well done.
Oof.
Dan Rather, the Lion POS, who's actually a Texan, but is he dead or alive?
Pretty sure he's still alive.
93 years old. That's amazing. What's that, 3 in a row? Lou Dobbs from Fox Business, and before that, CNN for a couple decades. Dead or alive?
Oh, I'm going to go with alive.
No, he died last year, 2024. All right. Well, good try, Ray. You did better than everybody else so far. Jonathan in Fort Worth, There's only one question left. So this is, I know. Hey, all you got to do is get one and you get the Megyn Kelly tickets. And it is Britt Hume, the Fox News legend. Is he dead or alive?
Dead.
No, he's 82 years old. All right. So, Elizabeth, you with me? This is Elizabeth in Decatur. You ready for Dead or Alive?
I am.
Well, good. You already won. How about that? Well done. You didn't have to do anything. Sometimes it pays to play. Are you a Megyn Kelly fan?
I am.
Okay. Have you ever been to one of these events where like these anchors and these eggheads come and do a presentation?
No, I haven't. So I'm looking forward to it.
Man, I love it. It feels like the sort of adult, mature thing that we're supposed to be doing at this age, Elizabeth. So I'm going to put you on hold. Garrett, number 3, will get you information. We'll email you 2 tickets to see Megyn Kelly live on stage, Dickies Arena, Saturday, October 25th. Special guest Glenn Beck, Mark Halperin, Link Lauren. Get tickets now at MegynKelly.com. All right, that has been today's episode of Dead or Alive. Coming up next, I want you to guess, and I'll tell you after the break. What percentage of voters can't read at a 3rd grade level in America? Because, I mean, it's probably higher than you think, but okay, it's not that high, but it's still pretty high. Find out next on The James Show. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Now, I saw the results of a survey, and they do this every year or so, the International Survey of Adult Skills. When you look at America, the U.S. adults who are working age, so that's 16 to 65, a new survey showed that 28% of them read below a third grade level. Below a third grade level, which means they are baffled by the children's placemat at El Chico or Ponchos or whatever's still open these days. But if you're thinking, wow, that kind of sounds like a lot, like 1/3 of us are almost illiterate. Yeah. 1/3 of adults, 28%. Now, here's why I'm telling you this on the James Show today. Not that I want to make fun of people who can't read, because, I need all the listeners I can get. If you're illiterate, I love you. Listen to the James Show every day. Listen to the commercials. Buy everything they tell you. But this is what got my attention. This is why I'm telling you. That is a 9% increase since 2017. Meaning 8 years ago, only 21% of us read below a third grade level. Yikes. So what has happened in the meantime? What has happened in the interim between 2017 and 2025? Anybody want to guess here? Oh, that's right. The COVID lockdowns. That's one of the things they're pointing at to explain why there's such a huge jump in the numbers. Because 9% doesn't sound like a whole lot, but when it goes from 21 to 28%, that's more than a 30% increase. That's almost a 40% increase. That's huge. And so it just so happens when you flush the educational experience of millions of children, of all children, down the toilet for 2 straight years, jeepers, it turns out we're cranking out people who are dumber. This is adults 16 to 25. So if you go back 5 years, these people were locked down. The 16-year-olds were locked down when they were 11. They were just in 6th grade getting locked down. So 2 full years. And then when you get back, you're so far behind, they just pass you along to catch you up. And the COVID hangover is killing us in educational outcomes to this day. So the lesson here, you can kind of take the lesson of, wow, that's kind of a flaw with democracy when 28% of people can't read anything that's a complex thought, but their vote still counts as much as yours does. But no, I want you to come away with a different lesson here. This didn't have to happen. This 9% was the direct result of people who pushed the COVID lockdowns. And they told you at the time that we're just out of abundance of caution. But we now know that it was the most arbitrary, unsubstantiated, unscientific lockdown practice possible. The masks, there was no science behind it. Social distancing, they just made it up. Stickers on the floor did nothing. But everyone who did this, did they get punished for it? For making 9% of our working population illiterate? So we have 28% versus 21%, or what was it before that? Yeah, 21%. Something going to happen? Oh, I'm sorry, 19%. Look how dumb I am. But yeah, anyone who pushed that should be kicked out of their job if they're still holding a lever of power, because not only did they get it wrong, they got it wrong, and it was to the detriment of millions of kids. It hurt this country. Our illiterate rate went up 9%. In big part because of these terrible decisions. They should never be allowed near the levers of power again. I'm not saying they should be, fired from any job whatsoever, never allowed to work, and they just have to starve in the streets or whatever. But they shouldn't be in charge of anything. If you make a decision that bad, if you go along with a decision that bad, that's not substantiated, that has no science behind it, and you're just an easily led automaton who can be convinced to make terrible decisions based on political whims, then you have proven yourself unworthy of being in a position of power. You should not be the superintendent of a school. You should not be the principal of a school. You shouldn't be the assistant principal of a school. You can maybe be the volleyball coach. How about that? Maybe you could be the JV soccer coach. But you damn sure shouldn't be able to tell anybody when they can do anything ever again. Not only did you get it wrong, you destroyed the education of millions of children. All the cowards who stood by and let it happen, same thing. They should never be promoted into a position of power. I assume they didn't hold the levers of power and they were just passing along the terrible ideas. But we decided after World War II that just following orders was not a legit excuse. And the real lesson here is for the people who fought against it, who spoke out against it, the people who lost their job, the people who refused the vax, the people who refused the mask, the people who went to city council meetings and went in the media and spoke out against this. These are the people that should be lionized. These people should be heralded and reward them handsomely. They should be the only group of people allowed anywhere near any levers of power. Every superintendent, every school superintendent should now be someone who is an anti-lockdowner. Because in our most difficult situation, in the crucible of crisis and emergency, these were the people who made the right decisions when all the other people didn't, when most people didn't. You should look and say, hey, how come when most of the world was losing their mind and going along with what turned out to be false, there were these people who stood their ground and stood their principles and turned out to be right? That's a special group of people. That's an exceptional group of people. This is who your leaders should be. Whenever you're voting for someone, whether it's city council or governor or president, from now for the rest of your life, your first question should be, where do they stand on the lockdowns during COVID? And if they were pro-COVID lockdowns, that should disqualify them from any office. I don't care what political party they're on, what they believe, or if it's your next door neighbor. All right, that's going to do it for my time today. Stick around. Mark Levin's coming up next. And don't forget, we are your new home for Mark Lee Van Camp and Robbins. Check them out weekdays 11 to 2, right before The James Show. I'm James Parker. This has been The James Show on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.